You know, it's not like you're looking at the mirror of Trent Williams pass blocking on the right side. That ball is dropped precipitously when you look at the protection schemes and the protection package, right side, left side of the Niners offensive line. So the play action pass is the best way to help them out. Because when I also play action fake, I've got the back to whom I fake the ball who can now police the pocket before he checks out and leaks out on a flare control. Whereas on drop back and I'm running scat protection, I got 5 out in the pattern, I've got no help from a tackle. Now, the other thing I can do this week, and we'll talk about George Kittle for a second, because he'll probably start, I presume. He's had the hamstring issue. So the number one thing I would want to do as a head coach and play caller, I'm not going to run him down the field on deep patterns, okay? I want to use some caution about how I utilize him. I need him for the run game. I need him to chip and protect in the passing game, especially on McKivitz's side. I've got to line him up on the right side of the formation to put a guy in the face of that edge rusher on the strong side next to McKivitz, who has responsibility. I can chip him. I can delay release them. I can run tight end screens. I can run the tight end on a trickle route, on a squat route off of play action. I can have him on a 4 count or 3 count delay and just leak out late. And when the coverage drops, I can just drop the ball off to him and let him run for another 5 or 6 yards. I can use him to control the down and distance situation and to keep third downs manageable just by using Kittle as an underneath guy. I'm not going to stretch his leg. I'm not going to stress him by running them on deep routes. And that'll help increase the ability of Matt to be able to get the ball out without the sacks, without the hits. I can use him basically like a check down receiver as a tight end. And that'll help immensely, not only in keeping Mac upright, saving George's legs for the run game and for the chips on the pass pro and everything, then also put my quarterback and offense in favorable third down situations where I'm not throwing 3rd and 9, 3rd and 10, get the ball out quickly, eliminate the holding penalties and pass protection. By the longer I hold the ball at quarterback with deeper drops and deeper pass patterns, the longer my line has to protect, and the chances are somebody's going to get beat. That rookie left guard's going to get called for a holding call. I got a backup playing at center. I got McKivitz on the right. I'm holding my breath when I drop back and throw the ball because of the fear of the penalty situation where my offensive linemen are overmatched by some quality edge players.
PrizePicks will give you $50 when you play your first $5 lineup. Win or lose, you'll get $50 for playing. Use promo code COHN, C-O-H-N, and download the app now. Come on. Let's take a look at what the 49ers should do with George Kittle. It seems like last week, they could beat the Falcons without giving the ball to George Kittle at all. They just used him as a blocker. They opened up the run game that way, and it was enough because Michael Penix Jr. isn't particularly good. But C.J. Stroud really is a good thrower, and if the Niners don't have a pass rush, they might need a little bit more offense in this game. So let's take a look at some pass reps. This is the Playbook breakdown segment of the show powered by Pass Reps, where we make you smarter about football every week. You can get pass reps yourself and actually practice calling plays before Sunday for only $1.99 a month. Just go to passreps.com or click the link below. Okay, Tom, let's take a look at this play here. What is it?
Well, you got up the stick concept, and the great thing about this is I can go to empty sets. Kyle likes to spread the field and walk everybody out, put out McCaffrey outside, the X on the weak side or in the slot, or put him out beyond the Z on the strong side. And then I spread out the entire defense, and so I can take the tight end and just run a little stick route at 5 to 6 yards. It's like a get open route. It's a simple situation where I'm going to play, catch with the tight end here and have maybe a 5 to 6 yard throw. If it's zone, turn away from the defender, sit down. If it's man-to-man, break away and stay on the move. So I can take if I'm under center, it's a 3-step drop, bam, the ball's coming out. If I'm in the gun, it's a catch and throw situation. So the quarterback doesn't have to hold the ball forever. And I've got a 3-man progression to the side of where Kittle is, where I can throw the stick route I've got a man alert. I got a 9 route on the outside. If they were to walk up and play bump and run on the edge with Lassiter or one of the corners, I've got a shot vertical if I like my matchup. And unfortunately for the Niners, they don't have great vertical matchups in this ball game. They're, Jennings is not going to make me worry as a corner thinking that he's going to run by me vertically on a go route. Now, he may be able to use a double move once in a while, but, he's basically going to run the hook and he's going to run the in route. Well, if I'm running the stick combination, I can put the back out in the flat or the H out in the flat on the shoot route, and I got the tight end there. And if it's there, I'm going to take it right now. Ball's out of my hand, it's gone. Move the sticks, let's go to the next play. And so the great thing about it is this is a great 1st and 10 or 2nd and long situation if they're going to go to a cover 2 shell. A lot of defenses now in 2nd and 7 to 10, they're playing what they call a 2 green concept, cover 2 green, where they're playing the depth of the sticks, thinking that the ball's going to come out. That's why you see everybody on the 2nd down in the NFL. They're running the ball, they're running screens, they're running draws, and the screens are not really very effective because the whole world, they got fans in the stand who can call the play. But the stick concept's a great way, Grant, to get into a more manageable next down situation.
Yeah, anytime you're having trouble getting the ball to a tight end, this is a great play. Remember, like 13 years ago when Vernon Davis had 0 catches against the Seahawks, and you were like, "Hey, Grant, why don't you ask Jim Harbaugh how come he didn't call Y-stick or Y-stick looky for Vernon Davis in that game?" And Harbaugh looked at me like I was an alien. He was like, "How do you know this stuff?" He was like, "Well, I did call the stick, but I didn't call the looky. But at least we're speaking the same language." And ever since that moment, Harbaugh liked me. Thank you, Tom.
I tell you, Jim needs some help in Los Angeles. They're on. I think they're playing the Vikings tonight. But they're so beat up down there. My goodness! And I hope to God they're not wearing those butt ugly yellow uniforms like they did last week. Oh my God, they look like ducks running around on the field.
Do we have any other plays you'd like to look at to get the ball to George Kittle?
Well, I'd like to get the ball to Tonjes. On that Y spear route we talked about earlier, that deep crossing route, that's a Kittle favorite, right there. And then the other thing, if Jennings is playing flanker, he's on the square end behind it. So if the linebackers are chasing Tonjes on that deep Y spear route, that opens up a nice hole to throw the end behind it. So I've got a horizontal 1-2 progression right there before I check the ball down to the shallow cross. And so I would take Tonjes in there, let him run up there 12 to 14 yards, and then head for across the far numbers, aiming between 22 to 27 yards, and have Matt put the ball in there. Make sure that in a cover 2 shell now, don't be thinking that, because I'm going to see the backside corner sink to take that away. But if it's not a cover 2, it's a single safety high, and he crosses the free safety's face and he's free, ball goes to him. If the safety turns and runs, with Tonjes on the spear route, what we call the 6 spear, the deep crosser, I've got Jennings running the in route right behind it, because the deep crosser should take the Mike backer as well as the free safety in a single high scheme. That opens up the square end behind it at 15 to 17 yards to Jennings. So either way, I've got a good 1-2 read right there before I chuck down to number 3, which is the shallow cross.
He's going to be wide open.
Yeah, and then the great thing about it is Kyle can dress it up with the trading the tight end, running the short motion with the Z, doing all kinds of his normal little gimmicks and gadgets to dress it up. We took a play like that. I remember years ago, we threw it 4 times during the ball game. After the game, I got the opposing defensive coordinator pulls me aside. He goes, you threw that pattern 4 times in the game. And he said, you completed all 4 of them. He says, you do it once a quarter. But he says, we did not figure out what you were doing until the 4th quarter after you completed the first 3 of them. And then you still completed the one in the 4th quarter. So for 4 for 4. And he says, we did not know, could not digest it with the players until the 4th quarter, what you were doing. And you completed all 4 of them. And each of those throws get you on the end, 15 to 17 yards on the spear, 22 to 27 yards. You throw it 4 times, you complete 4 of them. You got over 100 yards passing just on 4 plays.
What I like about this play in particular is that you could have Kittle in the slot running that crossing route, the drag route. You could have McCaffrey running that little Texas route. And that's where the defense is going to be looking, and you can sneak Tonjes behind him. I like that.
I see there's so many opportunities, Grant. It's just the problem. Too many times coaches get involved in how many plays can I design. I laugh at these huge placards of plays. They've got 108, 120 plays on these sheets, and you only run 64, 65 plays a game, and they got twice that many. And with today's practice regimen and limitation on hours on the field and hours meeting, I don't see how the players can rep them enough to be able to execute them on Sunday.
Well, guys, you just saw the breakdown. Now go test your own football IQ at Pass Reps Updates weekly for $1.99 a month. That's nothing. The link's below. Don't just watch the game. Call it at passreps.com.